I do recall the plot.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Zombies to Zoinks, where we talk about everything from Appa's Yip Yip to a water-bending drip drip. I'm your host, Stephan.
I'm Daniel.
And I'm Trask.
And let's talk nerdy. It's time to talk nerdy, guys.
Sounds good. I'm ready.
Thanks. I was determined not to mess this up from last week.
Hey, you did fantastic.
But we're hitting it hard right now, which I'm super excited for you guys because we did a poll. We did yesterday. We had a poll with some of our friends and family and fans on the Instagram. So if you guys want to check out Zombies to Zoinks, at Zombies to Zoinks on Instagram, there's lots of fun things like that happening that we're going to start doing, where we can kind of like poll you guys for, you know, what you're feeling, right?
What are our topics going to be?
We had a little battle. We had a little battle of the avatars going on.
So the results, if I may.
Yeah, please.
So we pitched.
I was surprised.
James Cameron's Avatar against Avatar: The Last Airbender. There were 8 votes for James Cameron's Avatar, and there were 24 votes for Avatar: The Last Airbender.
But wasn't at one point, didn't James Cameron, like right away, I was like, okay, Avatar: The Last Airbender is obviously going to win, but at one point, didn't James Cameron take the lead for a second?
I don't know if it ever really took the lead, but it definitely caught up. Like, Avatar: The Last Airbender took a huge lead right out of the gate. It was like 7-2, I think. And then a couple minutes later, it was 10-7.
Well,
so they had both just jumped up, and they were a lot closer than I thought they were going to be at first.
I mean, what do you expect with something that's really good versus something that's really bad?
Those sound like fighting words.
Well, I've got opinions about that, but we'll jump into that when we get to that.
When we get to the bad one.
Yes, for sure. But I'm gonna be completely honest that I was quite surprised with how people. Well, yeah, because I was surprised with how people were like, you know, hey, who are you? One of them. I'm one of them. I want to know who the other 7 people are out there who were jumping on that bandwagon with me.
Yeah, I can pull up the list for you and send it to you.
No, hold on. I think there should be some level of
we're gonna call you out. No.
I'm not saying I'm gonna bring it up right now. Yeah. I'm just saying for our purposes,
we can see you.
See who voted for.
But
we appreciate all of you taking the time to vote, though.
Absolutely.
So,
thank you. Regardless
and
of what it is.
Just like with the government, make sure you go out and vote. It's a very important thing. The end. Go vote. Go exercise your right. Exercise those right muscles.
Anyway, so today we have Today we have Avatar: The Last Airbender. And as a lot of you out there know, we have access coming very soon to Netflix.
So soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I don't have to go to my DVD shelf and pull out my full collection of Avatar: The Last Airbender in my, 3-box, set.
Well,
I can
for the next 3 weeks you do. Still.
Yes, I do. Exactly. As I binge watch Avatar to get ready for Avatar being on Netflix.
Well, but here's the thing though, Daniel. Like, not all of us are the amazing, super dedicated fans that have collected over the years, right? And
collected over the years. What are you talking about? I bought this like a week ago. Not a week ago. It's probably like a year ago.
Well, and I love that though. You love it because my brother still, to this day, collects a lot of like physical copies of things, has a lot of physical copies of things.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of always super digital. So like I watched the whole series when it came out on Nickelodeon as they aired. Right. And then that was kind of the end of it. I went through both shows that way. So to me, it's kind of exciting because I get to at least, if I don't want to watch the whole thing, now I can very easily just go in and pick specific episodes I remember and moments that I
mean, we can all skip over the Canyon episode, the Great Divide.
You know what?
Yeah,
we don't talk
for what it is. I didn't think it was that bad.
Okay, they even reference it in the Ember Island Players episode when they're like doing the play. Literally, they're like, "Oh, hey, look, a giant canyon. Let's just skip it." Like they're like, "Let's not even stop here." That was the writers acknowledging that was a boring episode.
It is what it is. It was part of the story. I'll take it.
I'm gonna like for that
But-
2% that's out there that doesn't even know anything about Avatar. Who's like, what is he talking about? Isn't the main character bald? Anyway, sorry, Stefan. You're saying.
Yeah. Let's.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. This is gonna be a fun episode, I think. And so we got a lot of things to kind of jump into today, and I'm also pretty excited and hyped for the trailer chat at the end of this. For everyone, to kind of clear things up, I as much as I do love Legend of Korra. We are specifically going to be talking about the original Avatar: The Last Airbender animated series on will be on Netflix, on Nickelodeon when it aired. So those are the characters and stories we'll be referencing, and I won't touch into any Legend of Korra content.
What about? I'm curious. What about any books? I've only read The Promise.
I've read 0 books actually. So there may
so
be
you don't
some
know what happens to
information.
Zuko's mom.
Ooh, no. There's some stuff that I've known about Zuko's mom, but I've not known if it was canon. So you might be able to clarify some things for me.
I highly recommend it. Well, I don't want to give you any. I don't want to spoil anything. So we'll say. Do you want to say like everything that was aired in an animated episode from like start to finish for Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yeah. Let's go with what they're going to post on Netflix.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well,
Okay,
that's
great.
all
Sounds
that's all my knowledge too. So.
Well, it's funny because there are. I guess there's another book I read. Because I was gonna say there's some that takes place like in the year after Avatar. But there's some that take place. I was gonna say Wang Fire that Sokka comes up with, where where he has the giant beard, and when Aang is in the Fire Nation school, and he's like, Wang Fire, that's my name. And he comes up.
Sapphire Fire.
Yeah, yes.
That was the best.
He in one of the books he brings that up again. Like he takes on the persona of Wang Fire again.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. I love those callbacks. Love that. So, so we're all gonna have a pretty good understanding of who these characters are, at least.
Forgot about
So that brings us to our first section of the cast is our sorting chat.
Sorting session.
Sorting session.
Yeah,
We're being
sorting session. Stefan.
I'm sorry.
Have you been in any of these podcasts?
It's been a week. It's been a week. I'm sitting here going, God, what do we call it? What do we call it?
Somebody help
sorting
me.
session.
Sorting chat is another podcast, but we won't plug them.
No, we're not going to plug them. But
any more than we already just did.
if you guys are out
So,
there,
sorting
and not
session.
listening to
Sorting
us-
session.
Let's
yeah.
get started.
So the first character, we'll start simple, and we're going to take our main protagonist here, Aang, and
Yes.
I'm very curious what you guys feel, because I personally think there's a lot of growth with him over all of the books, over the seasons, as they reference him as books. And so personally, I would argue you could almost put him in 2 different houses by the start and the end of it, but I'm curious to see what you guys think.
Yeah. Well, I think I was thinking that as well. So it's hard because we have two Aangs that we can note. We have Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender and Aang from The Legend of Korra. And so my thing is, your house is always inherently who you are no matter what. And so I'm going to say, actually, even thinking about Avatar or The Legend of Korra, even then, I think he is a Hufflepuff, because it's hard to tell. It's like, in How I Met Your Mother, where it's like, was I drunk or was I a kid? And it's like, are you a Hufflepuff or are you a kid? Like, so that's the thing. Is it? Right. It's like, do some of this kind of like free spirited, I'll say free spirited. I feel like is a very good word. It's like, is it because he's a kid or is it because he's a Hufflepuff? So I think, I think. I was gonna say maybe all Airbenders are Hufflepuffs, but that's a terrible thing. That's a dumb to lump, because I would say, what was it, Gyatso? That's his
Monk Gyatso.
Yeah. I would say that I wouldn't call him a Hufflepuff. So I would say I think Aang, not to be confused with Ong from the live action movie, which we won't speak of, but Aang.
Moving on.
Yes,
I almost made that joke. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Aang, I would say, is a Hufflepuff, coming from his free-spirited nature that is seems inherently who he is rather than what he was taught by the monks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trask?
I would want to agree with that. He's a Hufflepuff, and as much as he, changes and kind of matures as the seasons go on, things about him never change. His kindness never goes away. He's always trying to do the best that he can. His loyalty, to a fault. There's moments of tension between like him and Katara, and he kind of loses his way and stuff like that, but that never really changes who he is. It's a growing experience. It's a learning experience for him, but it never stops him from being the person that he was. Katara references he's not the little boy in the iceberg that we knew back then, but he's still Aang.
Yeah,
he's still
exactly
that same person. So I would argue that he's a Hufflepuff through and through, not changing into a different house towards the end. I would say that sticks with him.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm actually pretty solid on that. The only thing I would offer is that I think it gets a little tough sometimes the younger the character or the younger the person to try and sort them into a house, because you go in at a very young age, certainly. But I would almost argue has Aang, at the beginning at least, has experience enough to be able to sort him, and does it take the full journey to go, here's where he kind of would end up?
To be fair, Aang is a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
Hogwarts students get sorted when they're 11.
Ooh. So you could there you go. So he should already be a year in. All right, yeah. I can settle on
This is
Hufflepuff.
like Chamber of Secrets Aang.
Yeah, you got a good point. Chamber of Secret. Our flashbacks are going to be his Sorcerer's Stone. So if we get to the other end of the spectrum, then here, let's see, where do we put Zuko?
Gryffindor.
That came
Show
quick.
your work.
That was
Okay,
like
so
you thought about this.
This yes, I did, because I'm sure, it's like Slytherin. So despite his quest for honor, which is a very selfish thing,
I want the Avatar.
Honor. Wow, that's like 3 times Trask. Zuko, your hair is getting so long. So from where Zuko was looking at when he was Aang's age, which we see in his flashbacks and everything, because he's 16, I believe, in the main thing. So from his flashbacks, as well as where he is at the end after all the fighting is gone, I believe Zuko has a kind of PTSD a little bit from that.
Absolutely.
From his Agni Kai, and I believe that is what is causing his selfish drive, because if you think about how long has he been searching for the Avatar? I think he was 13 when he had his thing, and then he is 17 by the end of the series, because the whole series is only a year long. He's 16 at the beginning, he's 17 at the end ish. So like 3 years. So that's 3 years of his life where he is after this selfish drive, and I don't think that's enough to be like his shrewd, cunning self. Now his sister is textbook Slytherin.
Well, you just jumped on Azula there.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, I think that's like you can't put like I don't believe Azula and Zuko, though they're cut from the same thread, or apple falls, blah blah blah. I just put too many references or whatever.
Thread doesn't fall far from the apple. I get you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, so
I start marketing that.
I believe Zuko is courageous, and adventurous, inherently. When he does join Team Avatar in book 3, we see more of those sides where he has a traumatic past, and that is what has caused his, we'll say misguidance, because you can be a bad guy and be a Gryffindor, Peter Pettigrew. Though I'm not relating Peter Pettigrew to Zuko because those are completely different characters.
Thematically, I think
but yeah,
they're
I believe he is a Gryffindor, despite his selfish drive to capture the Avatar. Because once that is eliminated, it doesn't show his true colors. That quest that he has.
Okay,
that's my work.
I can see that certainly. Interesting. So this to you is starts as the worst that a Gryffindor could be versus the best that a Slytherin could be. Is how you take it, right, Daniel?
Well, like, I wouldn't even say that because I don't believe, the black and white, good and bad sort of thing. I think it's like I definitely believe in gray characters, so I'm trying to go through. I guess I didn't really quite understand what you meant by that as well.
Meaning, like, well, when I bring that up is that this is how far a Gryffindor could fall, or like the model of a fallen Gryffindor, quote unquote, exhibiting traits that are maybe outside of their house.
I think
versus
I think
a Slytherin that becomes the best of what a Slytherin could be, not falling prey to the tropes of their house.
A good example is when Zuko gets sick. So that is when he's having that inner conflict. And I believe it is, what Iroh is saying is like, your two sides of yourself are at war with one another. And that's in book 2 when he gets sick and after they do the tea shop and stuff. And then when he kind of comes out of it, he's like this really nice, sweet guy for like a couple episodes, because he's not worrying about any of that traumatic past. And it's not until he finds that the Avatar is there again that he kind of goes back to his ways, because he has the best redemption arc out of any character, honestly. Like
in the history of ever.
In the history of ever, it's so great.
He's got a really good
and Dante Bosco does a superb job acting. Yeah, absolutely. Lexi got to be on his, I think, Snapchat story once while she was at the
convention. I feel like I remember hearing this story.
Yeah, she was Rapunzel at a convention, and he really liked her wig that she made, and he's like, "Oh wow, look, can I do it?" And she like screen recorded it, so she has it as well. And it's like you just hear his voice hitting. It's just like, wow, that's so awesome,
Yes, that's the best. That's the best feeling. I love it when they do. I've had an experience like that with Patricia Somerset for Legend of Zelda, and then
cool.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember her name. Amethyst from Steven Universe.
Oh, okay, awesome.
It was that same convention. It's just
people are
voice
so
actors
cool.
are cool. Voice actors are so
I
cool.
believe actually wait, I'm looking right now. Grey Delisle, we have a picture of her signed by we have a picture of Azula signed by Grey Delisle in our apartment right now that I'm looking at. And then she has one signed by Dante Bosco in our closet. It's a weird size, so we don't have a frame for it. But I believe they both are, or Dante Bosco and the voice of Katara, they're both Zutara shippers. Mm-hmm. So the picture that we have signed is a Zutara picture.
Oh, I love that.
Anyway, back on topic. Yeah. I believe Zuko is
though.
Yeah, I believe Zuko is a Gryffindor that is misguided through a traumatic past.
Well, give me.
Yeah.
I was saying, Trask, give me your count. If you can have a counter, do you agree? What do you think?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so my counter to that would be, if I were to try and defend Zuko as a Slytherin, I would say, Daniel, you mentioned him having kind of a traumatizing, experience and kind of has that PTSD from it.
Yeah.
Wasn't, Snape the kind of guy who was tortured by the past of losing Lily and kind of eventually finding the good in himself in protecting Harry and doing everything that he could, where he had such a positive arc where, yes, he was kind of the example of the textbook bad guy Slytherin from the get-go, but so was Zuko. Zuko was the textbook bad guy right out of the gate and had an arc that he changed kind of who he was, and it reflects a little bit on the experiences of his past.
See, I like how you said that, because I believe, I'm going to see if I can use your point to favor my point as well. Okay. So I believe Zuko is a Gryffindor that then, through his traumatic experiences, showcases Slytherin traits, but I believe Snape is a textbook inherent Slytherin that then showcases Gryffindor traits towards the end. So I believe that's kind of so. Snape, from when the time we see him, even as like a kid in Hogwarts through the Half-Blood Prince, pensieve, or no, we don't use the pensieve for that. We use. He goes into it's when Harry goes into his mind or whatever. But
he takes the tear from him
at the end. Oh yeah,
at the very end. That's a pensieve moment.
Yeah,
the 8th movie.
Yeah. Well, so I think from when we see Zuko, when he is not traumatized, he is a Gryffindor. When we see Snape before his thing with Lily or anything, he's a Slytherin. He's showcasing more cunning, ambitious, determined kind of traits.
I don't really remember seeing the cunning traits of him as a kid before the Lily
he's
stuff.
all into so think of the book the Half-Blood Prince.
It's been so long since I've read that. However, a week ago I binged the entire Harry Potter
fantastic
series. So
so in the Half-Blood Prince,
that's kind of what I'm going off of.
Harry gets a copy of Advanced Potion Making,
right,
which used to be Snape's copy because it's on the Half-Blood Prince. In that book, there are all of these notes that he made while he was a student,
right,
saying, "This is like how I would do it. This is how to do it better than the textbook."
Right.
I would say that's cunning.
Okay.
I would say that's cunning and ambitious to do, and I think that kind of that's just a point to favor him as like an inherent Slytherin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Zuko dressing up as the Blue Spirit was not a cunning action to try and get closer to. He tried to trick Aang into basically thinking that he was an ally. You don't think that was a cunning aspect of it?
I think it's a cunning thing to do, but I think that's more brave and daring.
Okay, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going into the enemy.
Well,
this is like
to be fair. I'm trying to pitch the argument
opposite
for Slytherin.
Yeah.
However, I completely agree with you that he probably is
totally,
a Gryffindor.
Totally. Devil's advocate.
So yeah, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate
like it.
to it,
I like
but
it.
I couldn't agree with you anymore about him being the arc of the Gryffindor in him. So yeah, I'm just trying to argue.
Oh no, I love it
for the sake of it.
I think you've slowly been convincing me as well.
Have I swayed you? I feel like this always happens, Stephan.
Well, you bring up a lot of good points, and sometimes we can think a lot alike. I was very curious to hear. I appreciate the devil's advocate, Trask, because I was like, if there's anything else out there that I haven't thought of, and those are kind of all of my biggest arguments and points as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
just need to hear it from somebody else.
Well,
too.
Exactly.
with any type of argument, the best kind of point that you can make is if you're making an argument for something, if you can come up with a counter argument to your argument, that only makes your argument stronger.
Yeah.
So
right.
So that's always a good thing to do. I remember in college, I had to write deliberately. My teacher made me write a paper on how so I'm a huge Disney fan. I love The Little Mermaid and everything. And she made me write a paper talking about how The Little Mermaid is a bad adaptation of the Hans Christian Andersen story, which I don't like the original one because it's sad and and everything. So I had to, just to make me a better writer and a better, make a better argument, she deliberately made me be like, so talk about how the Disney one is terrible and how, or not terrible, but how it is inferior. It is inferior to the original story.
That's funny.
So.
All right, we are burning time
that.
on this topic. Let's
no, it's good. And Zuko I thought would probably take the longest anyways because he's one of the deepest.
Absolutely.
When we just kind of shoved us Slytherin, get out of here, Zula. Okay, so Zuko. Can we all agree that Azula is a Slytherin? Is there anything else?
Azula is a Death Eater. Azula is not. Azula is
not even in
Voldemort.
Hogwarts.
Azula is the most wicked character out of the entire series.
The Bellatrix.
She's a sociopath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not. I don't even want to give her a house. She doesn't. She is
just
so the only. So I'm talking about black and white characters and how I like all characters to be gray. She is a gray Delisle. She is. I'm sorry. She is. The only time we get to see that is in the two bits where she's talking about her mother, where she's saying on the beach episode, the classic anime beach episode, where she's like, even my own mother thought I was a monster. she was right, of course. Like for that one moment, she's reflecting on like there might be some pain associated with those thoughts, but she doesn't care, and I think that's why she's kind of like a sociopath. You know, she's not able to feel empathy or sympathy for anybody. But so yeah, I think. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to put her as a Slytherin because of the cunning, ambitious, determined leadership, but also I don't even want to... I feel like I don't even know
staying
who
on the
she
Slytherin
is.
house.
All she's doing is stuff for herself, and we don't really get to see her do anything else. And so I don't even know if I can put her in a house.
Yeah, that's fair. I could sit with that. What do you think,
Yeah.
Trask? You good with that? Because I'm pretty good with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll agree with that.
She was right, of course.
She was right, of course.
That's excellent line delivery. Great line.
So let's finish out the Fire Nation here, and then we've got 2 more characters after this that we'll do at the same time that I really want to touch on.
Wait a sec. Hold on. We're not going to do all of Team Avatar?
Yeah, we
boomerangs?
are. We're gonna get there. I said I got 2 more characters after we finish the Fire Nation people I want to finish here.
Okay.
Okay, so who's next in the...
Yeah.
We're gonna do Iroh, and then we're gonna finish out with Toph and Sokka. Oh, that's right, Katara. Katara. I'm sorry, Katara. I thought we already got there.
I'll say right now, I think Katara's a Gryffindor.
Let's just do
your thoughts,
Katara now.
Stephan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right.
okay, let's do
Gryffindor?
Okay. I think she's a Gryffindor.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'm trying to think if there's any
The only other thing I could think of
brave,
is
daring, chivalrous, courageous.
Nah, she's Gryffindor. Yeah, she's Gryffindor.
Oh.
But then Sokka. Let's
Oh,
talk.
hold on.
Sokka.
We have a comment. Okay.
go ahead. Go ahead.
For Zuko, I agree with a Gryffindor for Zuko, even from when he was a kid and spoke up for what he thought was wrong. I feel like he almost tried to portray himself as a Slytherin to impress his father because Azula is a Slytherin, but I don't think Zuko is a true Slytherin. Fantastic.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yes, thank you, Lexi Von Cosplay.
Thank you very much, Lexi Von Cosplay. We appreciate the comment.
I have no idea who she is.
Not at all.
But no, that's an
but-
excellent point. Like that all those moments where we see Zuko being honor, that is all him going against his true inherent self in order to impress his father, because his sister is a Slytherin. I think that is an excellent point.
Yeah. I
Good
never
point,
would have even thought of that.
That
Yeah.
takes my balance.
Great
there.
one.
So we have Katara then as a Gryffindor. Is what we're
Gryffindor,
settled
yeah.
Currently.
I'm trying to think. I don't see. There's not. I mean, she is the mom, I guess, but like I can't think of her. Classic. If you want to see Katara's true self, it's the episode where she goes and tracks down the guy who killed her mom.
Yeah.
The choice that she makes, where she just feels she's like, I'm not even gonna. I can't do this. I'm so that I think is Katara at her lowest point, where she almost kills that guy and she chooses not to. I think that is the textbook brave and courageous.
That's the hardest choice to make. There, it's the bravest choice.
Absolutely, and she's been thinking about that for years and years and years, and then she finally gets there, and she chooses the courageous thing to do, and that's to spare his life. Though she feels pity and sadness, she's like, this guy's not even worth it. I think she's such a strong, awesome character, and I think she has a spectacular growth as well that we get to see over again a year. Because I believe she it's like for her it's she's a little bit older than Aang, so I don't remember how old she is, but
I thought she was only
she was around Zuko's
14.
age. I thought maybe
Yeah,
like
14.
she's in between.
I think she's 14. Yeah, I believe Aang is 12, she's 14, Zuko's 15, or sorry, Zuko's 16, and Sokka's 15. I think something
it's like
that.
somewhere
it's-
around
And then
it's like-
Toph's like 10 or 11.
Yeah, which is like why we get her kind of between them, where she's like, older guy or this younger dude who's always with me. Like I can go either way. So
What about?
well, Sokka? I'm curious about Sokka
Yeah.
now. What I personally put him in Hufflepuff. That's
I got a
where
loop
I've
for you
settled.
guys.
You got to
I got a loop. Ready? Or Trask, what do you think?
Oh lordy.
Whew. I'm looking at my little
Yeah.
characteristic cheat sheet to kind of go over it again in my head because
Hey, do you want me to?
I don't know if I don't. I personally don't think I would put him in Hufflepuff. I think that he's a little. I don't want this to come across as me saying that Hufflepuffs are like weak or naive or anything.
Cedric Diggory. Cedric
I
Diggory
absolutely would
is
not.
a Hufflepuff and is such a like tough, strong character.
Aside from
Cedric Diggory.
I would almost say that he has some Slytherin tendencies about wanting to always be the leader of the group, and he wants to. Yeah.
Believe Sokka, who is pretty much my favorite character other than Suki. Sokka is a Ravenclaw.
Okay. I mean, I think I can see characteristics of him in every single group, and I think that's one of the hardest things for me about finding a category for him. However, I'm looking at the big Ravenclaw description, and one of the first things on there is intelligence, and sometimes I just don't get that vibe from Sokka.
Okay, no, that's fair. So I think so. Intelligence. There's a difference between intelligence and wisdom and knowledge.
Right, absolutely.
Intelligence. Great example. Where's the gas coming from? Let's make him smell like rotten eggs, so it smells.
Oh, he's absolutely creative, and he comes up with all these
intelligence, wisdom, creative, originality with his jokes. He's able to come up with all of those those poems on the spot. He's creative. He's the one who created that whole. Remember his little fishes with the tanks inside of it for the battle. He made up all of that. Yeah. His again the egg smell for the gas that's coming out of the thing. Whenever he's in a battle, like he is kind of like. It's not your textbook leadership qualities, which is why I would think their dad is probably more of a Gryffindor. So I don't necessarily see him. I think he can lead, but I don't believe he is inherently a leader.
Right.
But he is able to show all of the the library as well.
Yeah.
He's the one who figures out that it's because of an eclipse that they lose their power. That is entirely him. Mm-hmm. So I think he is not given enough credit for all of his book smarts well, maybe not like book smarts like learned, but his strategic. So I believe he is absolutely a Ravenclaw. Okay. I'm curious what you guys think.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Because you kind of pointed out all those little things in the ways of seeing around the textbook definition of it, while still relating to it. I can absolutely see that. And like I was saying, I was kind of torn between a couple of them. I absolutely had Ravenclaw on the radar for him, but I just couldn't quite figure out how to articulate that was my meaning for it. And I think that you do a fantastic job of justifying all of these things, and that's kind of what helped.
I just like doing it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was definitely thinking that, and now it's like, okay, yes, that's why I was doing that because you defined it for me, and now I understand because you explained it.
Poor boy's wisdom fluctuates a bit, and sometimes he doesn't always make the greatest choices, which could he's
like what.
This is the comedy of the what was
just
it that
because he's funny. When was the time Sokka chose something because he's all silly and goofy? When did that take away from his intelligence or like in a moment?
It doesn't.
His
haikus.
Take away from
his
sorry, I can't forgive the fact that he messed up the haikus by adding one extra one-syllable word after doing so good. It had to be on purpose.
Listen, however. He just learned what a haiku was like 5 minutes before that happened or less.
Right. And he did so good. He did 6 in a row and then
I think that's very impressive.
Yes, but he could have easily done the last one correct as well.
What is it? The word the extra
he says young he said young ladies I rocked ya.
Yeah.
He didn't need to say young. He just needed to say ladies I rocked ya or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I'm like, no. That's a one-syllable word.
That takes away from his intelligence, though.
I just can't forgive him for it. No.
Ladies, I rocked you.
Yeah.
Creativity, all of those.
Counting syllables.
I'll put him in Ravenclaw too. I think that's
you got one too many syllables there, bub.
All right, give me.
Okay.
Then we'll do this. We'll finish out Team Avatar. We'll do Toph, and I want to do Iroh at the end because I'm very curious about Iroh. But give me Toph.
Slytherin.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Cunning, ambitious, determined leadership.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense to me too. That was
what a better way to exhibit your determination than not sticking to the stereotype of, the weak little blind girl. She was the coolest.
She was a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
The boulder has an issue with. Yeah. Also, I may be a little more inclined to, because I am an earth element. Like, that's kind of what fits with me.
You're also a wrestler.
I am also a wrestler. But that's not where I'm going with it. No, I think that she was just...
Can you be Toph? Like, can one of your gimmicks, can you have like a Toph? Like, can you take, whenever you do Team Avatar?
Well, for the Ember Island players.
Yeah. Yeah, Trask is going to be doing, we'll be doing the Toph from the Ember Island players at a convention at some point.
Yes. I'm so excited for it. Yeah.
I don't see like you see. I'm at a sonic frequency from my mouth. There, I got a pretty good look at you.
That could be a conversation for another day. But yes, I would say that Toph is a Slytherin.
Okay.
Stephan, thoughts?
Yeah.
No, I was thinking the exact same thing. Is to me, she's the perfect example of that the Slytherin that you really want by your side.
Yeah.
Who
I'm
drive you to do better and move forward, and
I'm looking at time here. I think we got to get to Iroh fast.
We do. We'll be okay. We'll be fine.
Okay.
I'm pretty.
It's gonna be a long
you guys
episode.
Are gonna be
That's
all right. Give me Iroh. Give me real quick your
Hufflepuff.
Irohs.
Yeah.
Hufflepuff, loyal, kindness, honesty, friendship, like in tune with the spirits.
Yes, he was misguided in his past, but he learned from his mistakes.
Yeah.
He corrected, and all he wanted was for Zuko to better himself.
Yeah. Well, in Iroh too. So he was a, in Fire Nation, like being son of Sozin, that sort of pressure. Like he needed to. I feel like he always inherently had those traits, but he kind of needed to grow into them. And when he was at the Battle of Ba Sing Se, he still had respect. Like the thing with all those Fire Nation soldiers and why he stands out as a character, and with all of his fantastic advice, is he's able to he still has respect for his enemies, where everyone else is like, I will crush them, but Zhao or whomever, I'm going to kill the moon. Like, that reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh! There's the bit where he attacks Yugi, literally in the middle of the duel attacks the moon. But there's a card called Attack the Moon. But yeah, so I believe he has his respect. He's loyal to his country, his nation, and that's where he was brought up in, or like, he was a Fire Nation general, or I'm not sure his exact rank, but that showcases his loyalty to the Fire Nation, but he's also kind with his enemies too. I don't think he's ever lied in his entire life. Honesty, and then friendship. All he tries to do, especially with the Order of the White Lotus, is
Lotus.
Not locust.
Very
Sorry.
different.
Locust,
Those are bugs.
locust is the bug.
Lotus
is the flower. Yes, my apologies. With the White Lotus is basically just a giant friend group, a secret friend group throughout all of the nations that it breaks the barriers of the nations. It's like, we're all people. We're not our nation. We can have respect and love for our culture and where we came from, but at the end of the day, we're all on the same planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's my Iroh spiel. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, okay. Is that it? Okay.
I'm settled on that. Honestly, that's such a clean way of putting kind of how I feel about it, to be honest.
All right. So what does that bring us now into?
That's gonna bring us into fact check.
So I'm very intrigued at this because I probably more than just the original series, but the series, like when they played the series with the facts on the episodes, I probably saw that more than like more of that, like binging that than I did like the normal one. So I'm curious to see what you got for me.
Well, good thing you're hosting next episode, so
yeah.
You're probably gonna win this one too.
All right.
Well, I'm curious to see if I can challenge anybody here. This is gonna be fun to play. So let's start with a fact check. Fact number 1. You tell me, fact or fake? Sketches of Toph before Toph's creation were originally done as a man.
Okay.
Okay, so I think that I have heard this before.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm gonna pin that as a fact.
Yeah.
I don't remember the reasoning behind it, but I know I've seen some of the original concept art for it, like the original sketch of Aang with like the monkey on his shoulder and stuff like that, and that was kind of what sparked the whole series. And I feel like I do remember hearing about Toph was originally going to be a man, but I can't remember it solid enough to justify it saying that's 100%. So I want to hear what some of the other ones are.
Not outlandish.
I'm gonna leave that one as true for now.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one then. I'm appreciating this little insight here. Fact or fake number 2. The references used for the martial arts in Avatar: The Last Airbender, the series, were provided by actual martial artists.
Absolutely.
One of the references being Tai Chi for waterbending.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely true.
I remember there were commercials that were playing, and it had a guy who would demonstrate the different martial arts styles, and he was talking about...
The only thing that could possibly make this a lie is that if Tai Chi was like for something else, but I'm pretty sure Tai Chi is very fluid.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I will say absolutely. Unless you were like, I know that they would know that, so I changed it from. So it's actually like.
Well, that was like when I changed the name of the amusement park. Last time. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say I know that Tai Chi is a very fluid flowing one. So I'm gonna go with true for this.
I like this. Okay. All right. Cool. All right, we're on to number 3 now. We're burning through these.
Through this one.
We're burning through these like the Fire Nation.
We are very knowledgeable. Ooh,
yeah.
Too soon.
I am Phoenix King. Also,
Speaking
Mark Hamill.
Honor.
Mark Hamill. Fantastic.
What
Bad
a guy. What a nose
What a
that guy.
fella.
It took me till book 2 to realize that was Mark Hamill actually.
It took me till just now.
I don't
because I've never looked that kind of stuff up.
Well, you know what's interesting? Because here's our next fact check, and this is a perfect segue. During Ember Island,
yes,
amongst the Ember Island players, the actor who plays Zuko in the Ember Island play is still voiced by Dante Bosco, the voice of the original Zuko.
Nope.
It's like his brother.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, it's Dante Bosco's brother.
It's
not him, but
it's not Dante Bosco.
Yeah. So there's your false one.
Well, we're gonna go on. We're gonna go on to fact check number 4. I'm putting on my poker face glasses here. We're not even
poker face glasses.
We're not even.
All right, let's.
In my poker face.
Number 4.
All right, we're gonna move on to number 4. Suki's name can be translated from Japanese into English as the words like or sometimes love.
I have no idea. I just know that the other one is false.
There's another part to this. It's also potentially derived from a very similar sounding word, which does mean moon.
I don't know why Suki would have her name.
Because Yue was
moon. Yeah. So I feel like you're throwing in stuff. I feel like you're trying to change it now.
Making stuff up on the fly. Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
I can't justify enough of knowing the translations of those. But I would have to. I would lean towards this is probably true.
Yeah. Same.
Especially if you're gonna. There's so many hidden meanings behind a lot of these names and stuff like that. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to make one of the characters' love interests translate to like or love. So
yeah,
I would say that's true.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right, final one. When Aang receives his scars, the notable
Scars
places.
Or the one on the back or the one on the foot.
Well, all right. You know what? It's fine. Yeah, his scars are placed specifically on his back and on his foot.
Oh yeah.
As he received the injury, as it entered through his back, the lightning entered through his back and exited through his foot.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well,
I thought. Wait, hold on. Because I thought that those were from different different attacks, but maybe it was that. But yeah,
I don't remember the foot one. I know
it's on his foot. It's absolutely on his foot and his back. Like
I remember the back. I don't remember the injury on the foot. That's the only thing that's standing out to me. I know that the injury on the back was the lightning sustained. So number 3 about Dante Bosco.
Yeah, how's that?
So let's talk. Okay, so let's talk about number 3 here. Interesting. So you guys, I mean, if you're both settled, then you technically both win here.
Okay.
Because
good shot, champ.
You know your avatar for sure. I tried. So this is something I didn't know actually. And here's what's interesting about this. When I first was looking up some facts and some things to play around with, one of the things that popped up was a false fact of Dante Bosco being the voice for the Ember Island player version of himself, of Zuko. And I'm like, that's interesting. Didn't know that. But then I cross-referenced it and double-checked it.
Good.
And saw it was Derek Bosco, his yeah. And so I'm like, oh, that's wrong. They were wrong about that. Oh, but this will be fun to throw in as the fake one. And you're like, nope, it's actually this. We know. And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Literally, Trask is like, yeah, it was his brother.
I feel like the reason I know that is because the idea of doing the cosplay of the Ember Island players came up recently, and I was doing a lot of research on that, and it was one of those things that I kind of stumbled across where I was like, oh, what a fun little tidbit of like Dante Bosco didn't do it, but he had his brother play a version of his character's representation. I was like, oh, that's such a neat little like
I got you
thing.
That's
that
good.
Happened. So
that's good. So before I figured that out and decided to make that the fake one, my original fake one was going to be the references for martial arts, and that they were provided by famous martial artists such as Donnie Yen, Jet Li, and Jackie Chan.
I wouldn't have bought that. They wouldn't be able to get the money for that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a good point too.
If you're just doing that as artist models, like you don't need to get.
Well, they
are absolutely phenomenal in their field, but who's to say that there isn't somebody who is just as well without as much name brand recognition?
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Who's to say though too? The throw in that I would have done is who's to say that they brought them into the studio but weren't just referencing their films and had other martial artists create choreography based on those movement styles from their films.
I mean, I think Trask and I'm curious if you do too. I have like vivid memories of the little spots that they played in between episodes where they showing.
It was the guy with like the white background and he was just talking.
And, like,
I think he had like a black like shirt on or something and he was just describing so for waterbending, we study a style called Tai Chi, and he's doing his movements, and it's like this is where the waterbenders get their fluidity from, and I vividly remember those commercials.
Yeah, no, they use a lot. They use Tai Chi waterbending. Firebending's based off northern Shaolin.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Airbending is I know I'm going to butcher the pronunciation. I can't remember Pakua or Bagua Zhang. It's like a soft style, and then earthbending is it's a type of southern kung fu that's like strong, powerful, but it also
steady bases and
yes. Or I know Toph's different though. Toph's like Tong Long or something like that. So like there's some interesting ways they like played with regions, not just in. I know those things too.
And specific characters to give them their own, and things that stand out. Yeah.
The last thing, Toph was also originally sketched as a man. They were created sketches for Toph as a guy. And then the last fact was Suki's name can be translated into two different ways in Japanese because Suki is the Japanese word for like, or sometimes you can translate it as love. But also Suki, the way they pronounce it in the show, led some people to believe that it could also translate for the other Japanese word, Tsuki, which has a T, and we would put a T in front of it in the pronunciation, and that does translate to moon. So they're two very similar sounding words. Yeah. And I think that was them playing on saying goodbye to one and acknowledging the acceptance and love of another.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, yeah.
Well, that actually hit us. We just hit 50 minutes. So
we did, and we're ready. Yeah. We're ready now for trailer chat.
Yeah.
So I know that
Because we've been trying to give like a little more time to trailer chat, so it's not like 2 minutes at the end.
Yeah, and I think there's something a little worthy to talk about today for sure, because we all know that Netflix is going to be bringing us all the wonderful Avatar, Last Airbender we want to see, but I'm wondering if you guys remember an announcement that was made a while back.
Of course.
Yeah.
Regarding the creators wanting to make their own live action series now.
Oh, they're already.
Yeah.
I don't believe they've cast it yet because of the virus, but the casting was supposed to happen in February or March. They've already filmed test footage for it though, where it's not the actual actors of the show because they haven't cast it, but it's stand-ins they're doing something. I think it's kind of similar to like Mandalorian a little bit, but they're doing rather than having the screen there, like they're using green screen, so they're making like a green screen kind of set, but they're able to render it in real time to have the actors be in like a giant palace throne room, what have you. Gotcha. So they've already done that where it was a fight in the Fire Lord's throne room between just two guys. But they've already filmed that as they're preparing for it, but they released that. So yes, that is coming out, and I'm very excited because it's all of the original creators kind of spearheading it.
Yeah. If you guys remember, too, when they talked about that, something that I always found interesting was that their original vision for the project as a whole was always live action.
Oh, okay.
That's something that they talked about in an interview where they imagined Avatar: The Last Airbender kind of being this grand live action epic, but at their start, when they had nothing and they had not much of a name to themselves to be able to pitch an idea of that scope, which would have come before the real hype, I think, of Game of Thrones, well enough before it. So there's not this concept or this like drive and desire for streamable content or for like big budget production, things like that. So they shifted their idea into animation, and made it more palatable and pulled it back a bit, and cheaper, pulled it back a bit and made it more of a show that they could market to a wider audience, and still were able to finagle with Nickelodeon and get darker themes thrown in there, and just like Teen Titans or Batman the Animated Series, even recent times like Steven Universe, a bit of Adventure Time. Like there are very few shows out there I feel like we can count that have come within this decade that still feel like the old gauntlet of some shows that like covered heavy stuff.
Samurai Jack
was one of those shows too. Just pieces of art, which I absolutely love them for doing. So yeah, I've always found that was interesting that they decided now they wanted to revisit those concepts, and
especially after there was such a push for live action, especially, and that's why everyone was so excited for the live action movie, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, and actually that movie is the reason why we didn't get a season 4 for Avatar. There was supposed to be 4 seasons, and I believe the last book was going to be instead of like fire, earth, or I think it was going to be air, or something like that. But it was going to be a final season, and they had to make the decision, I believe, in between seasons 2 and 3. So when the movie tanked really, really hard, that's why they didn't get a 3rd season.
Interesting.
And I guess that 3rd season kind of then morphed into Legend of Korra, because Legend of Korra was just supposed to be a mini series, just 1 season. And then that did so well, they made 4 seasons. But yeah, I believe that is what it is. I could be wrong, like if someone's like, actually, but
no, yeah. I'm looking it up now, and I'm seeing things for lots of potentialities of what book 4 air was supposed to be. Yeah, that is. I would honestly believe it if that's what kind of killed the hype. It's really unfortunate to me because I know Nickelodeon was a part of the M. Night Shyamalan process. I don't know how much the original creators, how much of a voice they had, or how many things
I believe
were
they did
altered.
Not. I believe they did not have too much say in the live action movie. I believe I did a lot of research on this like a while back, and I want to say that that M. Night Shyamalan took elements of I think honestly he just wasn't the right director for it, because a lot of his older stuff like The Village and stuff, I like those movies. Just the recent stuff would have not been the best. I don't think he was the right person for this. And because it was kind of whitewashed, and it just didn't. It did not pair well to the original source material, which was like honestly perfect. I can't even think of a way to change the animation to make it better.
And there may not be a way to change the animation necessarily, but apparently the original creators admitted to having cut a lot of what they wanted to do with the show for the sake of where it was being played and the medium they were using. So they doubled down and developed a widespread appeal animation or animated show. But I'm very curious to see if what we get in this live action is something that feels more akin to like a Game of Thrones or a Mandalorian.
I believe it is. I want to say I heard as well. Again, this is just me pulling stuff like right now. That some of the arcs that we get are going to be more fleshed out.
Yes,
because it is a TV series or a streaming series.
Yeah.
So some of the it's rather than changing some of the stuff, it's like we're going to get the same arcs and the same stories and everything, but from the cause and effect of it, the start to the finish of that kind of character arc or story arc is going to be more fleshed out. Using, I don't know if it's going to be using some of those original ideas, but I do believe that they're going to take longer time to get to certain areas.
Yeah. What do you think, Trask?
Yeah, I'm not expecting a shot-for-shot remake of all the stuff that they've done, but I think because the seasons were like 22, 24 episodes
something
long.
Like that.
If you can take all of the important stuff and condense it down to 15 or 18 episodes.
Yeah, totally.
You can still have your little comedic moments of them kind of looking at, like you said, at the canyon and just being like, and then they move on and just like, okay, so we don't have the episode of the Great Divide, but we can take all of the important arc stuff and kind of condense it.
Yeah. Well,
you can give it more time to, like you said, flesh out all the stuff that really makes a difference and is vital to the arc. But being able to kind of go back and look at your previous product and be like, I don't know if that was really necessary. Okay, let's go ahead and take that out. I don't think that everything needs to be 100% nothing but arc, because it needs to have those kind of lighthearted, fun moments.
Well, and that's what makes the
So I think that I would be anxious to see what they do, taking an already great source material and trying to recreate it in a way that they feel like, okay, maybe we messed up a little bit here. So I'm anxious to see what the directors kind of look at their own previous product and be like, well, maybe we could have done without that. Seeing what those bits are.
There's a lot of, especially in the first two seasons, there's a lot of filler, which it's fine. That makes sense, especially where they were at. You don't need Sokka and Katara getting sick and having to go get frozen frogs to get them better. You probably don't need that. You
Momo
probably don't. Yeah,
struggling to figure out what water is.
Yes, exactly. You probably don't need the Great Divide. You probably don't need,
Right.
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of. There's a lot of those small little episodes that just kind of like, you're like, oh yeah, we don't need the Serpent's Pass.
I love the Serpent's Pass.
Oh yeah, it's great. But sorry, but what you could do is you could take Serpent's is a great example. Then you could take the important stuff of we'll say for the characters. It's good for the story because we get to learn that even the refugees, they still have hope.
Yeah.
But maybe just take the scene of Sokka and Suki, while they're on the cliff. And that's where, she's like, oh, yeah, I met a really great guy, but he had to leave, but I'm still thinking about him. Like, that's important to...
Is he taller than me?
Yeah.
I just remember vividly, real quick, I want to throw this in before we kind of wrap up.
Sure.
I had an iPod with a screen on it so I could watch movies and stuff like that. And one of the episodes that I had downloaded was a 2-part that was The Serpent's Pass and The Drill. So one of the things that I watched all the time on my iPod was The Serpent's Pass into The Drill, getting into Ba Sing Se for the first time. And I think to me that's probably why The Serpent's Pass is so vital and so important to a story, is because I always viewed that as one thing.
Yeah.
And it is one of the most it's a memory that I recall so well because I've seen that particular episode
Gotcha.
so many times. So
Well,
I
guess,
didn't mean to be like, oh, the Serpent's Pass isn't necessary, or no, it's required to be in.
Well,
it's
maybe
just something that stands out more to me.
Like, maybe they and the
they
bit
can
where
get through it quicker.
Yeah, where like Zuko meets Jet and they have that bit where they're stealing food and stuff. Not entirely. I think honestly, I like Jet is a fan favorite, but I think if they excluded Jet, I would be fine.
Yeah.
Because he does make that really good sacrifice, but I think, or if they trim down or make that like a little more streamlined,
Right.
I think like that type of stuff they could.
Well,
kinda
and
get
there's a
away with.
lot. I think I'll close with this, and I'll say it's probably going to depend on what style or like what their pacing ends up being. If they want to pull this out into an HBO style Game of Thrones epic, or if they're going to streamline everything and give you just the absolute necessary bits to move forward, like Mandalorian does, where it really is a very limited, like every season is only 10, 11 episodes, and we get packed full of story stuff. So, well, we'll see. We'll see going forward.
Totally.
I hate cutting you off, Daniel.
Oh no, that's fine.
You're good.
I was gonna go on a tangent about the Mandalorian, so that's fine.
Oh, you're fine. We're at time, guys, and I'm always sad to see the close happening here. But thank you all for joining us. Those of you who are with us on the live stream, and if you're listening after the fact, we love having you every time. Look out on our social media platforms because we're everywhere these days. You can find us on Instagram, certainly if we're doing more polls at Zombies to Zoinks, and most anywhere. We're on Twitter, right, guys? We're on Twitter. We just haven't posted anything.
Twitter.
We have a Twitter. I don't know if we're actually on Twitter, but we have one.
We possess we possess the ability to tweet. So be aware of that. We're also on YouTube as well. So
I'm going to start all of our past episodes on YouTube.
Exactly.
And then maybe some fun new stuff coming out.
Yeah, keep an eye out on the YouTube page because
we're gonna make
you might get a little surprise here in a little bit.
Yeah. So I'll be making some announcements soon about that. So check for that. You can find our podcast anywhere podcasts are, usually iTunes and Spotify, as well as on Sounder. And be sure, if you'd like to send us a suggestion or a topic or anything, reach us on any of the social medias, or you can send us an email at zombies. You can send us an email at zombies@gmail.com. Good Lord. Hello, quarantine brain. So thank you all again, and I'm Stephan.
Yeah, I'm Daniel.
And I'm Trask.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, watch out for the Fire Nation.
Yeah,